They've been lying to you for decades, and it's keeping you fat, inflamed, and aging faster than ever. Most doctors won't say this, but I will. Your stubborn fat isn't your fault. It's the broken system. If you're doing everything right and still feel like you're falling apart, I get it. I've been there myself. And this is the truth you've never been told. Let's get one thing straight. Your doctor is not your fat loss coach or your health advisor. They're trained in sick care, not health creation. The average medical school devotes less than 20 hours to nutrition over 4 years. They're taught how to diagnose, prescribe, and refer out, not how to reverse insulin resistance, build muscle, or optimize metabolism. So we're going to cover the 6 things your doctor has not told you that I will tell you today to help you feel great and look great. Let's start with the first one. The truth, fasting is better than grazing. Doctors still push the outdated advice of eating every 2 to 3 hours to keep your metabolism revved up. Here's the truth. That's metabolically damaging advice. As a matter of fact, in my latest book, Metabolic Freedom, I make the case that your metabolism doesn't operate in speeds. It's either efficient or inefficient. And trying to boost or speed up your metabolism isn't a good idea. All of the animals in the wildlife that have the fastest metabolism have the shortest lifespan. Why? Because every meal, every snack spikes glucose, then spikes insulin, which creates insulin resistance. Yes, grazing and snacking will lead to insulin resistance. Constant eating keeps your body and your metabolism in a fed state, never entering fat-burning mode. It also never gives your gut or mitochondria a chance to rest and repair. When you skip a meal, skip snacking, practice fasting, your body turns on a process called autophagy. This is the body's internal recycling and repair system. It's kind of like Pac-Man going within your cells, cleaning out the junk, cleaning out mitochondria that are not producing energy or burning fat, fixing it so it produces energy and burns a ton of fat. Even a simple 16-8 daily fasting schedule works incredible. This means out of a 24-hour period, you're fasted for 16 hours. No food, no snacking, just water, electrolytes, coffee, tea. And then you have an 8-hour eating window. During your fasting window, you're going to lower inflammation, improve insulin sensitivity, boost energy and brain clarity, and tap into stored belly fat. Doctors rarely mention fasting because they've been trained to fear it. But this is how your body was designed to thrive. Fasting is not starvation mode. Fasting is healing. Fasting is what I call nature's reset button. It's one of the best ways to remove the interference and allow your metabolism to heal itself. So that is the first thing I would recommend. The second tip here is to eat fat to burn fat. A lot of doctors are still afraid of saturated fat and cholesterol. This is a term I call lipophobia in my brand new book, Metabolic Freedom. Lipophobia is the fear of dietary fat based off of 50 plus years of misinformation and propaganda. And this is not by accident. The reason why your doctor will tell you to avoid or limit saturated fat and cholesterol is a result of flawed science, bought out nutrition policies, and lazy medicine. What they won't tell you is that your brain is at least 60% fat, mostly saturated fat and cholesterol. They won't tell you that every cell, you have 37 trillion of them in your body, has a cell membrane, which your hormones connect to burn fat, and that's made up of saturated fat and cholesterol, the two most important fats for your body. What they won't tell you is that your hormones, especially your sex hormones like estrogen and testosterone, are built from cholesterol. Eating high fat, lower carbs will shift your body into fat burning ketosis, and you'll burn fat especially around your belly. Studies show that high-fat diets improve HDL markers. HDL is high-density lipoprotein. It's your body's janitorial system for cleaning out the plaques and the junk within your arteries. This also lowers triglycerides, which is inflammatory, which is essentially fat in your bloodstream, and reduces inflammation far more effectively than low-fat diets. So eat the butter, eat the coconut oil, eat the red meat, and stay away from the real dangers, which are seed oils, also called vegetable oils, sugar, and ultra-processed carbohydrates. Unfortunately, doctors won't tell you this because they're stuck on the 1980s food pyramid. The third thing your doctor won't tell you is that you could turn off bad genes with lifestyle. Your doctor might say it's genetic, as if you're doomed to obesity or diabetes because of your family history. I remember when I was 23 years old. I was obese at 250 pounds, 34% body fat. Here are some photos of what I looked like. I had depression. I was inflamed. I had high blood sugar levels. Which was pre-diabetic. I had high blood pressure, erectile dysfunction, cyclical fatigue, and I made my appointments with my doctor. And not once did my doctor ask me the question, what are you eating? Let's discuss your lifestyle. Now, the question he asked me or was thinking was, what can I prescribe for this young man? He simply said, hey, you have prediabetes because your dad's diabetic. You're overweight and obese because your dad's overweight and obese. But here's what they don't understand. Genes load the gun and your lifestyle pulls the trigger. The field of epigenetics has proven that. And I talk about it in depth in my book, my brand new book, Metabolic Freedom. Your environment, nutrition, stress, sleep, and exercise can turn genes on or off. This means you can literally silence bad genes and activate longevity promoting ones. As I mentioned, my dad was diabetic. He died from the complications of diabetes back in 2014. I'm 40 years old right now, and my blood sugar levels are perfect. Just because I have those genes doesn't mean I'm going to be diabetic. I will never get diabetes. Just because you have certain genes that run in your family doesn't mean that's your destiny. Your genes are not your destiny. It is true, you cannot change the genes you are born with. Facts. However, you could change the expression of those genes via your lifestyle. Fasting, the tips I'm going to share with you in the remainder of this lesson, will reprogram your genetic expression. This is the future of health. And yet your doctor might not even know what epigenetics means. The fourth thing your doctor won't tell you is that focusing on calories, essentially eat less and move more, is a distraction. My doctor told me, hey, we need you to move more and eat less. We've all heard it. That's like telling someone who has debt to just spend less and work more. It's shallow, it's incomplete, and it's downright harmful. Here's why this strategy backfires. The premise is wrong. It's treating the symptom. In other words, if you're overweight right now, you don't have a weight problem. You have a weight symptom. There's no such thing as a weight problem. When you focus on calories, it's a distraction from what really matters, hormones and metabolism. You see, we don't lose weight to get healthy. We get healthy to lose weight. When you focus on cutting calories, it slows your basal metabolic rate, your metabolism, because your metabolism will match the low energy coming in from food over time, which slows down your metabolism. You lose muscle along with fat. You see, there's a big difference between fat loss and weight loss. With caloric restriction, you achieve weight loss, and a good percentage of that is muscle. Not a good idea. We'll talk more about muscle later on. And by the way, this further decreases your metabolism. And it often leads to yo-yo dieting, cravings, and binging. Look, the real issue isn't calories. It's hormones, it's inflammation, and metabolic flexibility. If your hormone insulin is high, if cortisol is dysregulated, or your mitochondria are damaged, no amount of eating less will fix that. Doctors need to stop pushing the calorie math and start teaching metabolic healing. The fifth thing your doctor won't tell you is that protein, especially animal protein, is the key. Let's talk about protein. Arguably the most important macronutrient for fat loss, healing, and anti-aging. Here's what protein does. It preserves and it builds lean muscle mass. The more lean muscle mass you have, and I'm not telling you to be a bodybuilder, but to just have lean muscle mass, the higher your metabolic rate, meaning more efficiently, your metabolism is going to run. You're going to burn more calories. You're going to be more insulin sensitive. You're going to prevent fractures from the bones. You're going to prevent osteoporosis, osteopenia. It also, protein boosts satiety, so you feel more satiated. You're not snacking and grazing. It increases thermogenesis, which means you burn more calories when you eat more protein. And the protein that has collagen, it repairs the body and joints. It helps with neurotransmitter production and immune function. Most people, especially women, don't eat enough protein. So you want to aim to get about 1 gram of protein per pound of your ideal body weight, your goal weight. Identify what is that goal weight, target weight you want to reach. If you're 195 pounds, but your target weight is 145 pounds, then aim to consume 145 grams of animal-based protein each day. Without enough protein, your weight loss will include muscle loss and your metabolism will tank. The sixth thing your doctor is not telling you is that muscle is the real longevity organ. Doctors might check your cholesterol, your blood sugar, and maybe even your blood pressure. But how often do they ask you about your muscle mass or test how much muscle mass you have on your body? Muscle is your metabolic currency. The more you have, the more you burn fat, the more you regulate blood sugar, and you age with vitality. It's also neuroprotective, immune enhancing, and protects you against frailty and falls later in life. A 2021 study showed that muscle mass is a stronger predictor of lifespan than BMI, which is body mass index, or weight. Yet most doctors never prescribe resistance training or even measure your muscle to fat ratio. This needs to change, and it starts with you. And one of the most comprehensive studies ever done on the metabolism, and I dug deep into many of the studies out there on the metabolism as I was writing Metabolic Freedom, was a study from Duke University in 2021. It was published. This study was incredible. It had 6,600 people, and it was a worldwide study involving the United States and several other countries. And get this, the participants in this study, the age range was from a 1-year-old all the way to a 95-year-old and everybody in between. And it measured the metabolism and what changes happen throughout our lifespan. And here's what the study said. It said between the ages of 20 years old and 60 years old, there are no significant changes in the metabolism. So your excuse that you hit 40 and your metabolism has slowed down, there's nothing you can do about it, which your doctor might give you that excuse, that is not valid according to the study. The study also went on to show that once participants reached age 60, they've noticed a 0.7% in the metabolism, a 0.7% decline in the metabolism every year after age 60. Which might sound like a bad thing if you're watching and listening if you're over the age of 60. But the reason why, the study said the reason why this happens after age 60 is, get ready for it, loss of muscle mass. So when you're eating enough protein, strength training, getting quality sleep in your 30s, 40s, or 50s, or even over 60, you will build and retain lean muscle mass. And you could be 95 years old with the same metabolism as when you were 25 years old. That's something your doctor won't tell you, but science backs it up. Now, I'm going to get to your top questions on this topic that you submitted here on YouTube, but if you want to go deeper into what I shared today and have a 30-day plan to burn 20 pounds of fat in 30 days without caloric restriction or willpower, get my brand new book, New York Times bestselling book, Metabolic Freedom. It's available on hardcover, Kindle, Audible, and Spotify. I narrated the entire Audibles myself, and we're going to give you an entire course on metabolism for free, with some exclusive interviews when you go to metabolicfreedombook.com and buy the book there or scan the QR code on the screen. And I'm currently on tour doing a keynote lecture around the world at different venues talking about the book. We're doing book signings, meet and greets, and I'd love to meet you in person. If you go to benazadi.com/events, you can see my upcoming speaking gigs. Now, let's get to your questions. How do I know if I'm eating enough protein for my goals? I would recommend tracking it. There are some free macronutrient trackers out there. The one that I use is Chronometer, and you just input your food in there and it tells you exactly how much protein you're having. Again, you want to have 1 gram of protein per pound of your ideal body weight. So you would put in your foods and it'll show you how many grams of protein you are having each day. And if you go to chronometer.com/ketocamp, CRONO meter.com/ketocamp, camp with a K, you can get the app for free. There's also MyFitnessPal and other free trackers. All of those work. What's the best type of workout to build muscle without bulking up? The best movements are going to be what's called compound movements, also multi-joint movements. So bench press or push-ups, squats, body weight squats or weighted squats, lunges, planks, pull-ups, or resistant bands. These are going to be the best ones out there. If I have high cholesterol, is it safe to eat saturated fat? The short answer is yeah. There are a lot of moving parts to cholesterol. You might want to go on my YouTube channel and just type in Ben Azadi cholesterol to see all the moving parts. But more people die from heart disease with normal to low cholesterol than high cholesterol. Total cholesterol in itself is kind of a meaningless marker. What blood work should I ask if my doctor isn't giving me helpful answers? The most important test that you can get done, I make the case for it in Metabolic Freedom, the book, that you can get done for your metabolism is called a blood test, a fasting insulin blood test. And you want to see that between 3 and 6. If you can get your fasting insulin between 3 and 6, you're going to burn fat, have amazing energy, and age gracefully. Unfortunately, your doctor won't order it because they can't prescribe a medication for high insulin. This is a different test than a blood sugar test or an A1C. This is an insulin test. So get it done and get it between 3 and 6. Well, there you have it. Those are the 6 things your doctor won't tell you about getting healthy, burning fat, feeling good, fixing your hormones. Share this with somebody you know. If you're listening on the podcast, the Metabolic Freedom Podcast, leave it a rating and review. I appreciate you for watching and listening. I'll see you on the next one. And if you want to learn more about what I consider the top 10 foods that will guarantee fat loss, I put together a recent video. Add these foods to your grocery shopping cart, eat them every day. You'll burn fat, you'll feel good. Here's a clip from that video. Then click the video on the screen and I'll see you in that next lesson. There are two types of food that we eat: foods that cause weight gain and foods that cause fat loss. Numerous studies show how beneficial olive oil is, not just for your health, but for fat loss, weight loss resistance, insulin resistance, and also diabetes. The findings showed that the group consuming the olive oil was more effective